We're back today with what will be an entire shower rebuild. This will be start to finish. This will be all in one video. This will be step by step. This will be fully instructional so you could do your own shower rebuild today. Pay attention all the way till the end and you'll see the full before and after of this rebuild. Obviously, as with any rebuild, the first step of the rebuild is the demolition, and in some cases can be the most fun part. Anyway, we're going to demo out whatever is bad, and then we're going to sister up whatever we either can't get to, he doesn't want to remove, or must remain. And we're going to be adding new 2x4s, new framing, we're going to be adding new joists, and nailers, and sistering, so everything is good to go for our eventual boarding. Now we got our rough plumbing in, it's time to frame up for our curbing. We're going to put a triple here, but as you can see, it's below the floor. We're putting our three-quarter inch CDX exterior grade plywood that's going to serve as our floor, until it is wrapped entirely with a rubberized membrane by our master plumber. As you can see here, it's wrapped all the way around, hospital folded into each other, and then extra folds over the corners to make everything completely sealed and watertight. We go in there with our 2-foot level and measure to absolutely every single angle of this tub, and we make sure that we have pitch towards the drain. Every single place will have pitch towards the drain, and it's time to mix up our mud floor. We sit here and we spread. You want this very tight for your mud floor. Keep this very thirsty, not much water at all, as you can see, and we work it till we bring whatever water there is to the forefront and we're able to shape it. Best thing for this is the wood float. We sit here and we shape, and you can see this is made strictly with a Portland and a sand mix and a little bit of water with an acrylic fortifier. As we're doing it, we nonstop take our 2-foot level and we level towards the drain. Every single piece must be pitched towards the drain. Wherever it isn't, we go back and we reshape and we make sure it's molded towards the drain. Once this is done and we're satisfied with it, we sit there and we twist our drain and make sure our drain twists, and if it does, we're good to go. Now we can work on our ever-built systems. This is a foam board with a cement board on either side of it. We never used it before, but the homeowner supplied it, and we're going to be using that. It supplies its own caulking and sealing grout you must do in between each board, in between the floor, in between the ceilings, and the corners, absolutely everywhere. It comes with these screws and washers. They're both galvanized. Then you put your sealant / glue, and then you slide your next board down on top of it, and you fasten right up in the same fashion. We go about every foot for these, all the way up to the ceiling. We got green board on the ceiling. Now it's time to frame out for our shower niche shelf. We're going to be using the Everbuilt system for this as well. First time using it, but it's going to lay up very similar to your Schluters, what have you. So we frame out entirely for the box, and we want to make sure that we do our rough layout so that the full tile will go with the bottom of this box. Will say I am a pretty big fan of this foam board. I'm used to using backer board and red guarding it. This foam board is very lightweight, very easy to work with. I cut it with a utility knife. I don't got to take it outside and cut it with a grinder or everything. It's very smooth. I put that sealant in every single space, and then I go extra like a caulking and I go over it. Now I'm taking a marble, going every which way and making sure that it runs to the drain, and it does. And we're continuing. We cut out around our piping and we go up and we put more of our sealant in between. Now it's good for now. Then it's time to thin set and tape. There's rubberized membrane strips and tape that you put on, and then you thin set them in the corners, in the nail holes, and in where the joints come together, and then you go over it with more thin set. Now it's time to do our niche shelf. Our niche shelf is going to be a marble mosaic. We rough lay it out. We cut it out where it's got to go. We mix up our thin set. For thin set, the only thin set we mess with is Pro-Lite. We absolutely love it. We taped and thin setted the bottom of the tub so everything is completely waterproof and airtight. We do our course out. We make sure that it's going to fall completely perfectly. We put our niche shelf in. We mix up more of the Pro-Lite thin set, and we could start our walls. We're leaving the last course off on the bottom on purpose so that we can do our floor after we do the walls and put our last piece on. Most importantly, when you're doing tile, mud the wall. We're using a 1/4 inch notch trowel for wall tile. Mud the wall with your thin set. Flip the tile over and mud the back of your tile. Your best bond is going to be mudding the wall and mudding the tile. You must back butter and butter the wall. If you only do one or the other, you'll be able to pry these tiles off with absolute ease, and they will not bond well at all. We're doing half bond for these tiles. So what do I mean by that? Full tile, full tile, half tile as we go. Get up to the soap dish. Got a notch around it, and then you go. We like to do the entirety of 3 courses all the way around first, and then once we get those perfectly plumb level and square, then we could do one wall, the other wall, up to the soap dish, come up, and we can do the back wall. Now, we're using the wedge system. It's a leveling wedge system, not because we have to. Yes, we can lay perfectly flat tile that won't lip, but because it's faster, and why not take the time and be perfect? So we like to use the wedge system for that reason and that reason alone. Anyway, we're going to be tiling up to the ceiling. As you know, there's a cut where the ceiling is. It's in between 3 and 3.5 inches. It's about 3 1/4. So we want to match that cut with the bottom cut into the tub. So we do this ahead of time with our rough layout so we know exactly where it'll go. And we have an even cut at the top and the bottom. Why do we have this? Because it would have been a 1-inch piece. So what do we do instead of doing that? We do a 3/4 of a piece of tile and 3/4 of a piece of tile to make it go that way instead of having to do a little sliver that would look absolutely horrible. Now we're tiling around our box and we have all of our tile laid. We put our Schluter trim around our knit shelf and we start cutting our mosaics for the floor. The mosaics in the knit shelf is going to be the same as the floor. We flip it over to a 3/16 V'd out notch trowel. We spread the entirety of the floor with, you guessed it, Pro Light thin set, baby. Once we get this entirely spread, we have the tile that we laid up outside, exactly as it's going to go with all of our cuts pre-marked and pre-cut, and we set it. And then what do? We take our tapping block and we make sure we hit everything down and get it in, but not too much where you have thin set oozing through the joints. Next, we do our marble test once again. Now, it could stop in cracks where there aren't grouted yet. That's normal, but for the most part, you want it to be able to flow to the drain. If it flows from every single angle in the marble rows, it is time to do your joints. This is going to be a silver grout that we're going to be doing on both the shower and the walls here, the floor and the walls here, excuse me. This is going to be a prism grout, and the gray is going to pull out the light grays of the tile and the floor. And the best thing is, because it's light, it's going to not make everything too dark in here. In the smaller space, you want to go light absolutely everywhere to make it look a bit brighter and lighter and bigger in a certain area. A dark color will close it down. Next, we take our straight edge and we scrape off any excess thin set that may be on these tiles. If you do it in an under 24-hour period, you'll be able to get them off. Now we're cutting our strips for the bottom and putting it in. So it is possible to do the walls and the floor and then put your last piece on. Go back, scrape off all thin set once again, and you are ready to do your walls with that same silver grout. You spread it entirely throughout, go over it ad nauseum because you're going to have holes. You take your square sponge, you wipe it down, and you go back and you hit any spots you missed. Then when it's done, you wipe all your walls down. We like to wait about an hour, go in with a cleaning product and a paper towel, completely wipe it down as shown here, and walk away, and you should be entirely good to go. Now we're going to clean the floor the same exact way. You see you get a little bit of schmutz off, not a lot, but it's best to get it off now because you want to walk away with a clean, pristine product. We do our marble test again. Every single marble finds the drain perfect. It's beautiful. It's exactly what we needed, exactly what we wanted. That means every piece of water will find that said drain. Now we're hooking up all our shower trim with a black shower trim. We're putting our marble ledging on top of our shower curbing, and then we're going to grout that in as well. We make sure it's pitched back towards the shower so any water that hits it will run back in. It's extremely slight pitch. You'll never even notice it. You're caulking with silicone seal at all of the corners where it meets the ground, where it meets each other, where it meets the ceiling, absolutely everywhere. Trick is spray a little bit of cleaning spray on it and it'll wipe right down. It cleans right up. Otherwise, it can make a bit of a mess. Here is our finished look. Thank you for everybody who watched this. Anybody who has any questions about doing your own shower rebuild, your own bathroom remodel, whatever it is, hop in the comments and you can ask anything you want and I'll answer them as best of my ability. You can always reach out for estimates if you want something done. I don't get into pricing on here, but the best would be to message me if you want ballpark pricing for your own home. As you can see, the water all dissipates right down the drain and it all works out. The homeowner's very happy with this project. It's time to walk away. Everybody, have a great day. See you on the next one.